Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today we are here to do a very exciting video. It's my reading vlog for House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J Maas, the third book in her Crescent City series, and this is one of the most unique reading experiences of my life. I'll go into it later about how much this book meant to me. But this is a spoiler-filled vlog. So if you have not read the book, then please do not watch this video because I really don't want you to get spoiled on anything. But this book really had a huge impact on me. And you'll see my experience, but it was truly unique. And I am really excited to have this video up because this is the first time that I've ever vlogged myself reading a Sarah J Maas book in real time. And Sarah J Maas is my favorite author. Her books are my favorite things ever. So without further ado, let's just get on with the experience. All right, it is 6:22 a.m. and I'm decked out in my shirt that I made, and we're about to go to Walmart and see if we can grab a copy of House of Flame and Shadow. I hope it's out. If it's not, I'm gonna be a little embarrassed, but I need that book in my hands right now. So we're gonna go, and yeah, I'm gonna take you guys with me and we'll see if I grab it. So let's go. And honestly, if I can't find the book, I'm on a quest. I have to come home with that book. So I don't know what I have to do, but that's what's gonna happen. So wish me luck. Well, this Walmart was a bust. So I'm gonna go try another one, and better luck. So the saga of trying to find this book continues. I've been driving around for like almost an hour now. I've gone to 2 Walmarts and nothing. So I'm bailing on Walmart as much as I want the exclusive edition. I'm annoyed. I don't want to wait anymore. I'm not driving to any more Walmarts. So Target opens in 45 minutes. I'm gonna get the Target exclusive, which that bonus chapter is one I really want. So you know what? I'm okay with it. I'm just annoyed because I could have been at my apartment reading by now. So, but we're gonna keep rolling. So we're good vibes. But I am annoyed. Okay, so it's taken me 2 hours to find this book, but I finally found it. Oh my god, I just... I don't even know what that noise is, but I can't believe it's here. I can't believe House of Flame and Shadow. Look at this fucking cover. Oh my god, it's so beautiful. Just a quick recap. First off, fuck you, Walmart. There's a whole debacle going on with this release, and y'all dropped the ball multiple times. So I'll never be trying to buy from you guys again when it comes to exclusive editions, no matter how amazing that bonus chapter is, or it's going to be. I don't know, I don't have it, but no matter how good that is, that doesn't make up for the fact that y'all have been lying to people trying to buy this book in stores on the day of release. So I'm not sorry about it. Thank you, Target, for coming in clutch, but even this was a mess to try to get because I was only paying in cash. The economy, I'm broke. I only had cash available, and these were going, the exclusive was going like hotcakes. There were some at one of my Targets sold out within minutes, and then there's only one available, and a friend of mine tried to buy it for me with her card and stuff, and I show up and they said that it's not available and that there was one left, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll go in and see if I can find it. This was the last one, and it was on the display. I don't know if I grabbed the display copy. I don't give a fuck. They let me buy it, so you know what? This is the copy I'm going to read, and I'm very excited about this bonus chapter. And this is the first time I get to vlog myself reading a Sarah J. Maas book in real time, and I'm just so ecstatic to do this for you guys. So, okay, I'm gonna eat my breakfast real quick because I'm fucking hungry, and then I'm gonna start reading this. Okay, I'll see you guys in my first check-in.
Books sold more than 38 million copies.
Why am I tearing up?
#1 New York Times best-selling author.
Do you remember the moment you first fell in love with writing?
I had just discovered fantasy books for the first time. I had loved fairy tales when I was younger, and then I kind of like stopped reading a little bit around like 7th grade. I was like too cool for it. I had this amazing teacher in 7th grade who called my parents in for a conference and was like, look, you know, Sarah's not the worst student in our class. She's not the best, but she's not reading anymore, and she should be reading. And if she doesn't like the books that we're reading in class, just take her to the bookstore, let her wander around, let her pick something out. Don't judge, don't say anything, just buy the books for her. And
so I'm on chapter 5. No, excuse me, chapter 4. What the fuck? I don't know if y'all understand how much I love Hunt. And I know that he has a mixed following in the Sarah J. Maas fandom, but he's just gone through so much. And what's the selflessness that he's going through right now, as he's talking about being tortured, is just, it's a lot. It's really a lot. And I knew going in that these parts of being in the dungeon were not going to be easy. Sarah has teased us about that for years at this point. But it hurts a lot. And honestly, like, I was like, okay, at the beginning of the chapter, but then he talks about Baxian, and I just lost it. I'm gonna see if I can read this without crying so much. I'm gonna have to highlight this because this is really hitting me. Baxian, bloody and swaying on the other side of Rune, didn't know where Bryce had gone, but he knew plenty about what Bryce had been up to lately. Yet, the Hellhound didn't give Pollux an inch. Hunt would have expected nothing less of a meal, or would have chosen to be Jenica Findir's mate. And Baxian, he really grew on me in the second book. I think I'm too emotional for this. I'm not gonna talk anymore. Okay, I'm collecting myself. I need to talk about some other things. So that's the beginning of chapter 4. That's all I've gotten so far from that. It made me sob. But we need to talk about what's going on with the frat boys and Ethan. There's a lot going on there, actually. So they're trying to find a way to break Hunt and the crew out of the dungeons. So they're in the meat market right now. So they're trying to find information on how to, or about the whereabouts of, the other crew. And Ethan, in House of Sky and Breath, he broke out Alpha from the astronomer, and she turned out to be an alpha wolf, who is now known as a Fenrir. So she's related to Sabine and Danica, and she's so cool. We haven't dealt with her a lot yet, but I really like her so far. I think she has a fiery, spunky personality that the Fendirs are known for. And she's about to go head to head with Sabine in one way or another. That's where we last left them before we jumped into the chapter with Hunt. And then Tharion is going through a lot. He's addicted to the Viper Queen's venom. He's doing her fighting for her. And there's a not weird, but there's a very interesting relationship brewing between Ariadne, the Dragon Shifter, and Tharion. I don't know to what extent, because I just assumed that Ariadne was going to be a love interest for Flynn, and she very well could be, but there was definitely something there with Tharion, so that's very interesting. We'll see how that plays out, but I've been going at this for over 3 hours now, and like I said, I'm tabbing and everything and highlighting, so it's taken me a lot longer to get through what I want to get through. So I'm not gonna spend too much more time talking about this. I'm gonna jump back into this chapter that's just breaking my heart, and I'll see you guys in the next update. Can I just say how much I fucking love Nesta Archeron? I haven't talked that much about Silver Flames on my channel, but if you follow my Instagram, you know that A Court of Silver Flames is probably my favorite book of all time, if not one of them. And Nesta has always really captured my heart. And just the way that she's dealing with Bryce in this book is just sending me. So I should probably throw some context in here. So Bryce was in the Hewn City in her holding cell. I don't know if I'm going to call it a cell. But she used her winnowing, teleporting, whatever you want to call it, into the Pit of Vipers or whatever it's called, with the monsters in it. And she's following the star in her chest that is leading her somewhere. And she comes across Nesta. And Nesta is, wanting to escort her to wherever they're wanting to take her. I'm assuming to the house. And Bryce tried to get away again and caused a collapse in the cave. So now Nesta is kind of forced to follow her. And it's really nice. Like, Nesta is not, like, she's tough in this already, but she's not so unapproachable like she has been before. And it's just really nice to see everything come to fruition from Silver Flames. So I'm really loving that. Something else I need to talk about is Sabine got her face blown off and by Flynn. So Flynn, Declan, what is that? The other alpha, I keep forgetting her name. It's like Sigrid. I think it's Sigrid. And Ethan, all of them are at the Viper Queen's house, I guess. That's where Tharion is located as well. So we're reunited together, and we'll see where everything goes. We haven't gone to the dungeons in a while. Oh, and also Lydia is bringing the Sprite Queen to torture Hunt. I don't know what that's all about, but I know the Sprites. The Sprites followed Hunt in the rebellion in the original one, so I don't know if Lydia is throwing Hunt a bone. I don't know what's going on with that. And also the chapter with or the part of the chapter with Rune and Lydia as night and day, that broke my heart. This book is sad. It's so sad, and I need my characters to not be so sad. So I'm gonna keep reading. And I'll try to update you guys as best as I can, but there's no coherence going on. So I'm going to keep going. Okay, so Bryce and Nesta are in this cave underneath the mountain somewhere. And I think they're getting attacked by a worm. And I'm pretty sure Is this one of the worms or the same type of worm that Farah fought in ACOTAR? Am I making that up? I haven't read ACOTAR in a hot second, but I do feel like I remember her fighting a worm. Is that correct? I don't know, I guess we'll see, but I guess they're about to fight it. I'm sure they'll be okay, but I'm excited to see Bryce and Nesta, team up to defeat whatever this thing is. Guys, I'm loving this book so much. It's crazy. Okay, so we're in the cell with Hunt, Rune, and Baxan, and apparently Apollyon has been watching them in shadow form. We saw this earlier in another scene with Hunt, and they're there, and Hunt starts asking them where Bryce is and whether she made it there. And Apollyon and Adis are very quizzical. They're very confused on why he would be asking that. And Hunt gets pissed off that they don't know where she's at. And then he starts getting very, very scared. But they can't tell him where he's at, where she went. They have a suspicion that she went to Prythian, but they can't tell him that's where she is because in case Regulus tries to get it out of him. So he's pissed. And then he wants to know, like, well, then why are you watching us? And Apollyon says that he wants to make sure that he's still able to be available for them to do what they need him to do. And I'm like, what does that mean exactly? There's been theories out there for sure about what Hunt's purpose to the story is. But so let me read this. Apollyon says, what you were born to do, to accomplish the task for which your father brought you into existence. So Apollyon said this to Hunt. So basically what I'm trying to tell you guys is that we're going to find out about Hunt's past in this, or his origins are, and what Hunt is really here for. We'll just have to see. So I'm gonna get back to reading, but man, the plot is thickening. Okay, so some more developments. Bryce and Nesta are under the mountain and they're going through the tunnel, and they're coming across these cave markings that are, one, either showing them some traps that are ahead, but they're also telling about an evil overlord of some sort. It kind of reminds me of in the Deathly Hallows. There is, in the Ministry of Magic, there's that statue of the wizards crushing the muggles. This is kind of the equivalent to that. There's a lot of scary imagery about these hooded figures, and then the Veneer killing these humans, and the humans are very in detail shown to be dead. So that's really scary, and that is very concerning about what does all this mean. And we also have the story about this being, this woman, this goddess, this fae. We don't know what she is. Her name is Selene. I'm interested to see where that's going, but we also have Lydia just went to the Viper Queen's lair to ask the team there if they would help her break out. And this was a frustrating scene because obviously I understand why they don't trust her. Like, I get it, but it's frustrating because we know Lydia's intentions, and I just wanted them to be like, okay, yeah, we'll help you. And they're not. Well, they are now, but there was a lot of back and forth there, and I just need them to get them out. We need to get out of the dungeon. Okay, I'm gonna get back to reading. All right, you're just gonna get updates from this, from me here looking like a potato, but it's all right. So a lot's happened since I last updated you guys. Bryce has learned a little bit more about what similarities there are between her people and the Fae and Prythian. And Ethan, Ethan made a deal with the Viper Queen in order to bargain for Darian's freedom and the frat pack and everything. So that'll be interesting to see. Sorry about the music. I forgot to mute it, but it's okay. But yeah, things are still going. I'm still really enjoying myself. I just feel like, I don't mean this in a bad way, but I feel like nothing's happened, but things are going. Like things are moving. Things are coming together. And I think we're going to get a very explosive rest of the book. So I'm excited. The Rune, Hunt, and Bagscene chapters really get to me. They're so sad. We've only seen them a couple of times within the first chunk of this book. And that's probably a good thing. But there's a lot of stuff going on with them. We need to get them out. We need to get them out. Okay, so I just finished chapter 14. And Nesta, excuse me, putting on the mask and manipulating that giant creature's bones to attack the worm. Nesta freaking Archeron. Oh my god, I love her to pieces. And Bryce is almost becoming obsessed with her, which I love. I'm glad that Bryce didn't betray them in the end. She tried to, but I'm glad that she turned around and went back to help them. And yeah, I guess we'll see what happens now. We're about to go into the fight with Ethan and whoever the Viper Queen chose as his opponent. So I'm sure that's going to be a shit show. We'll just have to see what happens there, but I'm not very optimistic about that outcome. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Where do I even start? So I think there's a few things we need to talk about. I've tried to talk about this a couple times already, but I don't know if I've already mentioned it. I don't know. This vlog is very chaotic, and I'm just spewing thoughts. So I don't know if this is a vlog or just a reaction video, but we're just gonna roll with it. So I think last I talked to you guys about, we were getting an info dump of the story about Thea and Peleus. So basically, it's stuff that people have already theorized about for the most part, which isn't a bad thing. I think that's really nice. Basically, Thea fell in love with the High King in Prythian, Theon. She fell in love with him. They had a couple of kids, and then they fought off the Daglin originally with the Dread Trove, and they kind of kept it to themselves and didn't really want to do anything else with it. They kind of underestimated it. So what happened was Thea became power hungry, and her and Peleus made a deal. Well, Peleus made a deal with the Daglin to manipulate Thea to open the door to Midgard. She tried originally to convince her court to, support her in this. Most of them were against it. But she was like, fuck y'all, I'm going to do it anyway. So Peleus had her open the portal to Midgard, and the Asteri were there, but they were masked as Fae. But they didn't find out till later, as soon as they, came into Midgard, that they were actually Daglin, or the Asteri. And then they took over Fae lands, and not Fae lands, human lands, and murdering them, women, children, anybody. And that was deeply disturbing. Bryce and Nesta were very disturbed by this, and I was as well. And now she has Helena and Selene. We have a name for the unnamed daughter. Her name's Selene, and Thea kind of has tasked them with finding out how to kill the Asteri. and it's coming to fruition that it is the Drudge Trove that we know from ACOTAR and now from Crescent City. So that's basically that's what I understand about this. There's a lot more I think we're going to be told, but we have that going on. So we have Ethan, who's having to fight Sigrid for their freedom, and the Viper Queen is loving it, and it is very hard for everyone to watch, and I don't blame it. This is a hard book to read. Let me just say, this is not a happy book. We are very much in darker territory, especially when we get to Hunt, Rune, and Baxian. Oh my god. Baxian having to bite Rune's hand off? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you serious? And they're having to be in this room with their bodily fluids of all kinds on the floor. And Hunt and Baxian have their wings sawed off and they're growing back and they're irritating. It's just, they are not having a good time. Not having a good time. And of course, the Asteri have found a way to bring back the Harpy. What the fuck? How is that coming about? I need to know how that's coming about. How is that happening? So many freaking questions. So we have that going on. And then now we also have the Asteri just caught Hunt, Baxian, and Rune trying to grab the poker. There's a lot going on here. And I'm terrified for everybody. No one is safe. That's what I've come to realize. No one is safe. So I'm going to keep reading. Yeah, I'm just going to keep reading. I gotta say, I am quite surprised about how this crossover is going. It's not going the way that I don't think any of us thought it would. So Bryce just fought Azriel and Nesta again. I feel like they just can't get on equal ground because now they're worried because she has the horn tattooed on her back, and Bryce obviously doesn't want to be kept there or have it carved out of her back, so she had to attack them. And during that attack, a big hole opened in the ground of the room that they're in, and a crystal sarcophagus was there, and inside is a fucking Asteri. This is not good. This is not good. They need to kill her. I'm so worried. I'm so scared. All right, now on page 309, which is chapter 34. And I haven't updated you guys in a little bit. So first, I gotta talk about, I'm in part 2, which starts with Bryce coming back to Midgard. So let's talk about the crossover for a second, because I think this is going to be something that's going to be a source of contention for a lot of fans, because I think we were expecting like this big epic crossover, and that's not what happened. I'm very surprised about the way that Sarah handled this crossover. We didn't get to see most of our characters from ACOTAR, and I think it's okay. Honestly, like, the thing is I'm okay with this not being a Infinity War situation. I think we don't have to have a giant crossover yet, but then it's nice that we have the seeds planted for something bigger down the line. Maybe we can get our Throne of Glass characters in. I don't know. You know, anything's possible now. So I just want people to take a breath. Don't get too pissed, and it'll all be okay. But I think it ended very abruptly. I think that's my only criticism, is that it just ended and we were done with the crossover for this book, at least so far. I don't know if it's going to come back into play later. I highly doubt it, but I'm very interested to see how this ties in to future books. But I did like what we had. It was just surprising. I wasn't expecting it. I'm just super excited because Lydia finally got Hunt, Rune, and Baxian out. I'm still in that scene, but for the most part, it kind of reminds me of Mad Max, like during their driving scenes. Like it read very action-like. And Sarah's just a very talented writer when it comes to stuff like that. So I think she's doing a fantastic job with this. I'm also just really happy to see them out of the prison or out of the dungeon because we had to go through a lot. And hopefully we can start patching things up. I need Lydia and Rune to come together. I need them to, get back on good graces because it's really hurting me that they've been separated. And Rune's pretty much been hating her this whole book. And then also Bryce actually ended up back at the Autumn King's house. So she's kind of held their prisoner. No one knows that she's there. The Asteri don't even know that she's back. And we kind of get a little bit more insight into what the Autumn King knows and what type of research he's wanting to do, because it's not clearly stated, but it is heavily implied that he is wanting to find a way to channel light, first light, into a weapon, or more of a centralized weapon. But it's kind of something like the siphons that the Illyrians use in ACOTAR, but that's not technology that exists in Midgard. So the Autumn King's trying to find a way to make that work here. And also he seems to be like more against the Asteri now that we're getting a little bit more honest, open answers from him. But we don't know too much now. So she's still there, and hopefully we'll have some good times coming because our characters need a break. They've been going through a lot. But I'm gonna read to page 400 tonight. I'm hoping I can be done tomorrow night. I'm still going to vlog and see how much more of this I can take. So I'm going to keep reading, but I will see you guys tomorrow. Alright, it's the next morning. It's about 9 o'clock. My goal is to finish this today. We'll see how this goes. I've been slowly reading it, but I think I can get through that today. So I'm not gonna blabber too much, but I am really loving this book still. Where did I leave you guys off at? Bryce was with the Autumn King. And hopefully we get some more development there, as well as the other plots. So I'm gonna get to reading, and I will talk to you guys later. All right, so I'm about 80 pages from where I was at the start of the day. I'm a slow reader, so it's taking me a little bit to get through, but we've had some interesting developments. So Lydia is a mom. She gave her sons up for adoption, and now she's met them. And Bryce is now back with everyone. We haven't had a full reunion, but a pretty good sized one. She's with Hunt now. They've already had an argument. It's so weird because I get we're in a war, but I was like, I wish we could have had a little bit more of a more emotional reunion, but it was good. They're back together, so we're good. Rune is still struggling with Lydia, and they just had an argument. I think he's still trying to wrap his head around her being behind, but now she's pissed at him because now he's starting to be nice to her because he found out that she had kids, and now he's interested to know what her story is, and now she's pissed at him. They're my favorite couple in this series, but they're not being a couple, and I need them to be a couple. I just need them to be happy. This is a bleak book. Like, nothing fun really has gone on in any part of this book. I'm about halfway through, and I'm hoping that some fun stuff becomes a little bit more frequent. But I do have a lot of orange tabs, which is for world building and plot. And so, yeah, there's a lot of world building in this book, which is great because we got to learn a lot about things that have been only mentioned in passing in the past. So I'm here for it. I'm still really loving it, though. Like, I have my gripes, but I'm really loving this book. And I'm so excited to get to the end to see how Hunt and Bryce's story concludes. So, all right, I'm going to get back to reading. Honestly, I don't know how to accurately talk about what's going on. There's so much that's happening. Basically, so I don't even know who to start with. I guess we can start with the main group. So we have everyone from the Ocean Queen's ship. They all went to Avalon to find out more information about how to kill the Asteri with the Star Sword and Truth Teller. And there we come to find Tharian has to marry, or doesn't have to, but he chooses to marry Flynn's sister. Because this island, Avalon, has very old rules when it comes to women, so she had to marry in order to roam about freely. And Tharian just thought it'd be a helpful thing for him to do, so that's what he did. And then we have Bryce and Hunt. They just had their first sex scene, which is very interesting because, I mean, it makes sense for this book, but literally it took over half the book before we got any smut in here, which is really interesting because that was the biggest criticism I think I've heard from House of Sky and Breath, the second book in the series. Everyone said it was too smutty. I'm not one of those people. I didn't think it took away from the story or anything, but people had a lot of problems with it. And this one, I think those people, they should be very happy, I would think. But during this intimate moment between Bryce and Hunt, they found out that they can channel their powers into each other during sex, I guess. And that's going to be interesting to see how that's going to come to play later, because she was able to take some of his lightning power and he was able to take some of her starborn power. So I wonder how that's going to come into play later. I honestly have no thoughts about that, other than that's a very interesting development, and I did note it, so we'll see what happens with that. And then we have Ethan's chapters, who he's formed kind of this weird friendship with Jessica, and he's using her to find a connection to a necromancer to resurrect Sigrid. I keep forgetting her name, Sigrid. And that turned bad because Hypaxia, who is the witch queen from book 2, who's actually not a witch queen anymore. They kind of threw her out, and she broke up with Celestina. So that ended really badly. But Ethan's using her to resurrect Sigrid, and things went wrong, and now she's a reaper. So she's like this soulless demon. And the Underking I think is what his name is using her for his bidding. So now we're going to try and undo that. So Hypaxia thinks that they can use Sophie's body to take the lightning to help reverse it somehow. We'll see how that plays out, but things are moving, things are getting crazy, and things are going so quickly, and we have so many storylines, so many plot developments. It's hard to keep up. So I'm sorry that this vlog is not as coherent as I would like. but there's just a lot going on in here, and there's no way I can focus on all of it. There's just too much going on. But I'm gonna get back to reading, and hopefully next time I will have some more developments for you guys. Oh boy. We've had some more plot development, of course. So basically the part that I just finished was, well, let me backtrack a little bit. So Bryce and Hunt, under the caves in Avalon, they found this temple that was originally the temple to honor Peleus, and they open the sarcophagus and go down into this cave that's full of black salt, which, as we know from other books, is what is used to summon demons from hell. So Bryce and Hunt go into hell, and they meet Adis, Apollyon, and Thanatos. And it is revealed that they knew that Bryce eventually would come into play in terms of going against the Asteri. They didn't know it was going to be Bryce, but they just knew somewhere down in Helena's line that the Savior would be born. And whenever that happened, they needed someone to be her battery, which, as we figured out in House of Sky and Breath, is what Hunt essentially is. So they bred that into Hunt by using Apollyon and Thanatos' DNA to do that. And it was also revealed that they created the Thunderbirds to do this as well. This was pre-Hunt, actually. So as we know from House of Sky and Breath, the Thunderbirds were wiped out essentially by the Asteri, but we know that Sophie Renast was one. But it turns out that was their whole purpose, and they were hoping that someone would be there to be Bryce's battery at some point. But then once all of them died, they had to create Hunt. So that's how Hunt came about, and that's very interesting. I know there's been theories about Apollyon being his father and Thanatos being his father, but I don't think anyone said both. So that's a really cool twist. And then also, Rune just killed the Autumn King. So I guess he's done. I was hoping that we were going to get some redemption from the Autumn King, but no, Rune kind of severed his head. So there's that. So I have about 200-ish pages left. So I'm just going to get back to reading. But yeah, I am very shocked that I'm glad it was Rune in the end that got to take care of it, though. So I'm going to get back to reading, and I'll see you guys in the next update. So Ethan is now the heir to the wolves, taking the place of Sabine and Signa. Why do I keep wanting to say Signa? What's her name? Sigrid. God, that name I cannot get in my head. So he's taken both of their places. Sabine's not happy about that. But something else before this happened, I don't know if we talked about this earlier, but we found out that the Asteri put a parasite in the water in Midgard that forces them to make the drop. People who drink it to make the drop, and it like stifles their power. So now Hypaxia came up with a cure or an antidote of some sort to mitigate that. So that's cool. Ethan and her both took some, so Ethan now has some elemental magic. And while this is happening, Bryce, Hunt, and Randall and Ember are trying to open the Northern Rift where the Harpy is now. So we'll see how that turns out. They're trying to get the door open, I think. And shit's about to get down. Shit's about to go down, so we'll just have to see what happens. I have about 200 pages left. I'm gonna try and finish this tonight. I don't know if that's gonna happen because I'm reading at a glacier speed, but I probably won't update again until I'm close to the end or until something giant happens. But I'm gonna go back and read. Okay, so Bryce opened up the rift or a portal. I'm a little confused about that, but she opened up a portal into Nesta's living room. And I'm assuming that's in the House of Wind in her little library. And she's asking Nesta for the mask. What is happening? I'm just... I'm so excited. We're gonna keep going. I don't know why, but actually, you know what? I do know why. Ethan's talking to Cotter. It's just so full circle. It's so fucking sad. He didn't even... Connor never had a chance. He reminds me of Sam from the Assassin's Blade. That's the same feeling. Yeah, that's the same feeling. But I'm glad that Ethan's gonna get his closure. But it's still hard to read. Is Lydia descended from Aelin? She's a deer shifter. She has his firepower. And she named one of her sons Brandon. Okay, I'm gonna read this. If a vacant from the partners makes who create stags with a powerful. She's descended from Aelin's line. Oh my god. I've never cried so much in the Sarah J. Maas book in all my life. So, I'm not going to make this a very long update, but I finished House of Flame and Shadow, and I'm drained. I need to sit with this book for a little bit, but the emotional punches really got to me. And seeing when Bryce died and she was in the afterlife and Jessica, you know, gave her soul for hers. And then we saw Connor. We saw the Pack of Devils. We saw Danica. And then we saw Lahaba. So there is hope in this afterlife. And I don't know if this is completely goodbye with these characters. I know we're getting another Crescent City book, but this series means a lot to me. And the fact that it's over in terms of Bryce and Hunt, I'm really happy that they got their happily ever after. I don't know what else to say about that, but I thought it was a beautiful wrap up. And we'll just have to see where the next book takes us, and who we're gonna follow. But Bryce and Hunt deserve their happy ending. And I'm really happy that's what they got. So I'm gonna stop crying because I've been crying for a long time at the end of this book. But there's one thing that really, you know, brings me peace, and that does ring true, and that is through love, all is possible. All right, so I've had about a day to collect myself and gather my thoughts This was an incredibly emotional experience for me, as clearly you were able to tell by the video. There was just a lot going on in this story, and the stuff that went on was everything I could have wanted. I have maybe one or two gripes, but honestly, I'm not going to talk about them because I just don't think they are worth talking about at this point. This book was perfection. It was wonderful. And I don't know. It was so good. I was really, really happy to see Bryson Hunt's story conclude in the way that it did. Sarah J. Maas has always said that she's a happily ever after writer, so I'm never worried about my love interest dying or anything, but they always have to get put through the ringer to, to get where they need to be, and this is no exception. I mean, they've gone through a lot of horrific events in the entire trilogy, and it's really nice to see it all paid off in the way that it did. And I don't know, it was just such a wonderful conclusion. And I love that, also Rune and Lydia, after everything they went through, they have a happily ever after. We do have a few loose ends for future Crescent City books. I know we have at least one more coming. And we're going to follow either Ethan or Therian. It's going to be one of them too. Because their stories did not conclude. They just kind of really began. So I'll be interested to see where all of that goes later. But it's hard for me to move on, honestly. Like, this is one of the worst book hangovers I think I've ever had. I started a Throne of Glass reread last year and I didn't get to finish it, so I'm listening to Tower of Dawn on Audible currently, but it's just not the same. This series has been such a comfort for me. It's been such a delight. The first book came out during the pandemic, and that was one of the highlights of that year. And it was a horrible year for everybody, but that was definitely the highlight for me. And like Bryce's star was just a beacon in a world of darkness. And that's still true to this day. And it's not just this series, it's all of her books. But there's something very special and unique about Crescent City that will stick with me forever. I just can't believe it's over, and I'm not going to cry again. I'm not going to do it. But I'm just really proud of Sarah for giving us this wonderful book and just for building this massive empire, because the hype for this book was massive, and I'm hoping that she gets all the praise that she deserves, because this is a work of art, and I seriously can't wait for her next book. We're getting a Nat Katar book next, and I think it's going to be Azriel's book, hopefully. But at this point, I'm rambling. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was long, I know it was chaotic, and I know there's no B-roll, so you kind of just got me yelling at the screen. But just know that I appreciate you guys going on this journey with me. I started reading intensely because of Twilight. I always chase that feeling again, and nothing has come close to the joy that I felt during that time than reading a Sarah J. Maas book. They just do something to me. Her characters, her world building, everything is just phenomenal. But again, thank you guys for going on this journey with me. I post a lot about Sarah J. Maas on my Instagram, so you can follow me. I'm trying to figure out what my next move is, because I honestly don't know. I have friends suggesting books to me, but we'll just have to see when I can get over this this mourning period. But all right, I'm gonna wrap this up. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.